Hey, hi Maxim.
Hi, Bizarre.
How are
How are
you?
you? Good, good, good,
Good.
good,
Very
good.
good. So it's working.
Indeed, indeed. That's an
You're
interesting
you're
piece of
together.
technology.
So you have so many friends in here. So Fernanda, Felipe, Sergio Constantini. So you have some friends that you already know, mutual friends, and some new friends that we're gonna make it today.
That's great. That's
So
great. So far, mostly your friends, who are also friends of mine, I guess, especially
yep,
Felipe.
for sure, you're gonna have some UL friends and some people that you already know. How are you? Good.
Good, 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 good. Thanks a lot. Thanks a
So
lot.
again,
It's a good weather. It's okay here. It's
yeah,
nice.
good. Well, here is a little cold today for Brazil, for weather in Brazil, but it's cool. It's okay.
Is it spring in your place? Because for us, it's autumn.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's the opposite, and
Yeah.
almost summer. And I was just telling that most of people just wonder why I do this Encontros por acaso, this in fact meeting by chance. I know by noon in Brazil because most people are working. Maybe it's lunchtime, and I say this is for I mean talking to my friends and my friend who live abroad and has you. So it's 5:30 p.m. In Netherlands right
Yeah.
now, right?
Yeah, that's
So
right.
I have some friends in Europe, some friends in US, some friends in China. So as I talk to them outside Brazil, it's if I do that by 6 p.m. That is the best time in Brazil to get more audience. That will not be good to talk to friends. So that's why I do by noon. That's it. But very good.
Okay.
I'm very happy that you joined me here. And
Yeah, yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. And I think time-wise, as many people work from homes these days, the schedule becomes a little more flexible for everybody.
yeah, that's right. It's a new normal, right?
Yeah,
So I just
yeah, indeed, indeed, indeed.
you're just telling me that we just watched Marco Nunes from straight from Iceland in his new big office in there. So he
Oh,
was in the office, but now you can do it from our homes. It's different,
yeah,
right?
yeah, that definitely feels different. It's interesting to see the backgrounds, for example, and especially the people and the pets and the members of the family of everybody. It's an interesting. Business conversations become more personal.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. So I have some friends from US here, Alex Martins. I have my wife here as well, Diego Rodrigues from Uberlândia. Oh, Ricardo Lascano. This is a very VIP person just joining me. Arnaldo Blasque is a very, very financial expert from Brazil. Márcio Castro, Guilherme Verdasca, CEO from Transfera, and Felipe, Tom Costa, Sergio Constantini. Well, just you can start that. So,
All your
Maxine,
friends.
just
Marcio, I believe Marcio, I met together with you when we went out for
that's right.
dinner
Yes,
in
exactly.
Leiden. Yeah,
Yeah, that's right. We were together in
that's
night
right.
as well. Marco Scabian as well. This is a guy from the world, and Leonardo is here from O2O Robots. So, Maxime, just I know you lives in Leiden, in Netherlands, but I know you are not originally from the Netherlands. So tell me a little bit of your history and your career and how you ended up in Leiden.
I guess I got confused. No, that's I was born in Soviet Union, the country that no longer exists, that in the place which became Ukraine when I was
Uh-huh.
13 and the country collapsed. And uh, and I guess I was lucky to join the technology path and to get my background and my education in applied mathematics and then in software engineering, which is, well, your oldest son is a software engineer as well, so that's a
That's
promising
right.
profession that moves you around. And yeah, I worked in Ukraine, I worked in Russia. We built crazy things there. That's where I met payment technology. We built the first line encryption that encrypts the data between point of sale device and the rest of the infrastructure. We built petrol systems, loyalty systems, all that stuff. And then I joined Colis. Well, actually, how it happened, it was quite funny. I was a bit bored at work, and I thought, why don't I find some European customers and do the insourcing of software development? And I met, I did not find anything better than sending my CV around, and I got invited to Holland. And the deal was, you come over, we pay for your trip, you invest your time. And I thought, wow, I've never been to the Netherlands. Sounds like a great deal. So I came back from Holland with a job offer at hand.
What was that, Dirk? Was that Dirk Jan?
That was
Who
Dirk
told
Jan,
you?
yes.
Okay, good.
That was Dirk
So
Jan, and
he's a good negotiator, right?
absolutely, absolutely. I've never seen a better one. Yeah, and then I thought I was 28, so I thought that was the time to move. And I thought if I don't move when I'm 28, then it will only become more difficult. So I moved to Holland. And then it was Collis, and this is where you and I met,
That's right.
when at Red you needed contactless terminals to get to work, right? And we happened to have people who could help you there, and that was the project. And then there was a long journey of making testing and certification solutions for the industry, ensuring the compliancy and security and interoperability of Visa MasterCard transactions. So
Right.
that was a nice journey. And that lasted for 10 years. So then I was 38, and then I thought, okay, what do I do now? Will I become a politician in a 120 years old company or or not? And then I decided not. But I stayed
That,
in the Netherlands. That's a nice place.
so you are now a citizen of the Netherlands,
Oh,
or
yes, yes,
you?
I am.
Or,
Yeah.
okay. So I have
It
here
makes it,
Flavio Guimarães from Philips. He worked for Philips in Holland as well. Just saying that he lived in Eindhoven.
okay. Well,
Okay.
as a matter of fact, I got my Dutch passport in 2015, and the very first trip I made with this passport was to Brazil, to Sao Paulo.
Oh, good.
So we are
That's
somehow
right.
connected.
That's right. Yes. In fact, I did meet you here in São Paulo once.
Uh,
Sometime when
of
I was
course.
at,
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. I do remember that was a very nice floor in the building of Itaú.
That's right. So Maxim, with your extensive experience in this payment industries, fintechs, transaction security, as you just said, and how you compare this what's happening in Europe compared to US and other countries around the world? I know you have this global view, and especially this all those trends in regulations and also technology and regulation, they are running together. And especially in Europe, you have this heterogeneous environment with more than 20 countries with different approaches and different governments. How you see that? How you see Europe, and how you compare with the world?
Well, Europe is a nice place. I do like it. It is tremendously fragmented, as you say. So you can drive for a day and you will see 4 or 5 different countries with all the different things. So that is a nice thing of it. And Europe is the as we call it, the old world, right? So it is a bit old. It is a bit moderate. It is a bit calm, maybe slow. It's not what I like about it is even though is even though it is not that entrepreneurial as US or festive like South America or hardworking like China or crazy like Russia, it is more moderate and everything, but it emits the values that I do that do resonate with me, which is trust, which is dignity, which is a bit more focused on society, even though I'm not a big fan of socialism, but as being born in Soviet Union, but I do like that focus on the well-being of a society and the trust between each other. And as trust is very important in the industry that you and I worked in the financial industry,
That's right.
I think Europe is a good place to be in. Even though I think that everywhere in the world you can find a great living and you can do great things. That's what I've seen in the global business that I've been part of. So that is Europe. And if we look at fintech, that's another interesting thing because What you see now is that specializing in only one industry is no longer a recipe of success. You always need to be on the borderline. You need to combine two things. And the fintech is combining the fin and the tech. The financial services are needed for the people, for economy to run. The society needs money. The society needs the mathematical model for relationships, and that is money. And technology, I don't remember who said it, but I do like this statement that every business must be a technology business in 21st century.
That's right, yeah, sure.
And that makes fintech. And if you look at fintech in Europe, that's again a nice thing. Europe is where fintech was born with Templars in 12th century, with financing of crusades.
That's right.
With money transfers.
Those are, I mean, the Templars used to be, maybe, if you can compare, is the current acquirers.
Exactly.
The only thing they know is the acquirers
yeah.
are electronic, and the Templars just carry the money, right? So it's exactly the same. Nothing changed, in fact.
Exactly. The business model is quite old. But what did change is that it all became more global and faster. So bigger, faster, and more convenient. This is what fintech became. But you are right, I guess. The nature of the problems that this industry is solving is still the same. You need to exchange money fast and reliable, and you need to transact between the trusted parties. That's what it is.
And we think those fintechs in Europe, they are doing really differently, or just making it a little better? Because, you know, if you go to China, you really see technology leapfrog. I mean, you see that they just move from something that was designed by the scratch. And in some cases, we see very nice companies, very successful, but they are just make a better experience, like a concept of design by analogy, just like engineers like us, I mean, to improve things, but not designing really from the scratch. When we're seeing those fintechs in Europe, like Revolut and 26, and also not just the banks, but fintechs that are bringing some different stuff, different experience.
Well, what you see is that I cannot speak much about South America, so that's something that you can probably comment on. But if you compare the countries, US builds everything to scale. And when it does not scale, it does not count, as we heard. Then immediately, if it is successful, then it is difficult to change. And that's why US is still signing paper checks. China and South and Asia in general, I have another theory about this. In their culture, they grow and they learn to read very sophisticated characters. So they make very busy advertisements and they make very sophisticated apps. If you look at Alipay and WeChat, where you can spend your life in, it's a lot of things inside. And for a European person, that is overwhelming.
That's right.
Europe is fragmented and small in each and every piece. Each country is a bit small. So Europe makes simpler things. Europe makes an app that works, a service that works for a given cultural society, and that creates fragmentation of 26 different pieces, as you rightfully mentioned. So this is a different fintech. Tell me how you see the South American fintech trends compared to this.
Well, I think one interesting thing is that those, even in Europe, those financial hubs, service hubs, financial hubs like London, they are trying to become fintech hubs. And they have behind those very strong and very modern regulators. And I think in Brazil, central bank has a very interesting role. And central bank is bringing very modern regulations to Brazil as well, has open banking, has fast payments. And then, although in Brazil, I mean, since ever, the Brazilian financial system is very sound. I mean, because it passed through some difficulties, and so the central bank built some very strong regulations to make sure the financial institutions were strong. And then I think the central bank has a major role and always brings new stuff to push the market, and he's doing that. They are doing that with those, the open bank and also with the fast payments, following what is has been done in England, for instance. And as the financial environment is strong, we have a lot of fintechs in Brazil. In fact, we have 750 fintechs in Brazil, just bringing phenomenal things to the market, things that the banks maybe would not develop. And maybe for them, the path is they have to make partnerships to get this the benefit of this. I know maybe in Europe is the same. I see in England, for instance, I see those new apps like Yolt, Dashboard Money, and I mean bring new information with much more value valuable to customers, right?
That's interesting. I think that it happens at a higher pace in your country, because indeed, both in Brazil, from what I'm hearing, and in Europe, the regulator is helping to challenge the status quo by introducing the PSD2 like regulations, or open banking, or instant or fast payments regulation, by pushing the banks to innovate. It just happens a bit faster at your place because you don't have 26 states to agree on something.
Yeah, that's right.
And then to enforce things one by one. So that is interesting. And in general, maybe question to you. What I see now in Europe is, after a wave of innovation rippling from the initiative of the central bank called PSD2, Payment Service Directive 2, that specifies that the banks need to open their data and let third parties interact on behalf of the customer to trigger payments or to look at the account or to run some analytics. Pretty much the same thing is happening everywhere around the world. But what I see now is, after the ripple effect from this initiative that spawns a lot of startups, the next wave of regulation is the opposite. It is more restricting. It's the strengthening the regime on anti-money laundering and efforts to counter the financing of terrorism. And the banks are suffering from this. How is it in Brazil? Is it getting tougher?
Yeah, well, no, the fraud industry is always strong. It's like a cat and rat. I mean, play the game and say you are always doing that. So you are. I mean, used to that. But I say you are exactly in the phase to speed up with this open banking and fast payments. And so you're going to see that. And for sure, once you get this, I mean, that's a question I'm going to make to you. And when you have more convenience, more connections, you have more risks, right? So I think going to have a challenge of interoperability. I mean, for the old technical architecture that the banks have. And also, you're going to have this challenge to balance risks with this convenience and connection that are going to, this interoperability. How you see, you that are an expert in the transaction security, how you see this in Europe and what you could bring here? I think in Brazil, you're going to speed this up, but maybe you're going to suffer, I mean, next 2 years.
When we were selling testing and certification solutions, I think we brought a lot to Brazil, and we can bring more. Europe can bring more. No, I think that the security and interoperability, if you look at them in IT sense, it is a straightforward task. It is expensive, it is long, it is sophisticated, but it is not fundamental. You just exchange one's IT systems with the other ones. It is painful, but it is doable, and it is not challenging the existential nature of businesses. So that will happen. What I see more interesting and more challenging these days is interoperability between humans and machines,
right?
In the sense that, especially in the COVID era, everybody is interacting digitally, like you and I are now speaking. Everybody is transacting digitally, and everybody is onboarding digitally and entering the legally binding relationship digitally. And digital identity is becoming a very big topic. And if you look at the current solutions that are solving that are addressing the digital identity challenge in the conventional way, they are pretty good when it comes to proving that the account was not stolen and all the risks are managed there. But they suffer on the last mile. They suffer on the proving that a certain account really belongs to me with my passport, with my criminal record, and with my risk exposure when it comes to the AML or sanctions list or this kind of regulation. And this is where I see many promising initiatives happening, because in the end of the day, we all work in a specific regulatory regime. We all are forced or motivated to trust the state administration, because that will be the law enforcement. This is where you will go if you don't get paid in the end. And the link between digital identity, technologies and ecosystem and whatever has been built with the startups and scale-ups today, on one hand, and a link of that with the state and with the identities managed by the state and with the criminal records or juridical procedures that are managed by the state, that is an interesting topic now.
That's right. I just said, I see here a comment from Guilherme from Transfera. It's a fintech in Brazil. He said, this is exactly what we're doing here in Brazil for payments in Brazil. But I mean, we said something very interesting. I mean, all those needs for risks. I think fintechs, we have a broad range of startups in this segment. I would say RegTech is going to have a very strong, very important role in fintechs as well, right? We talked about digital identity. I see most of those schemes, the digital identity is one of the things that you have to go to pursue instead of switching, because switching will go just, maybe you're going to disappear in the future. And digital identity is going to be something very interesting and important. Maybe in 10 years, going to have much more machine-to-machine transactions than human-to-human transactions. So how is seeing those direct tech segment for fintechs? And
I see it underdeveloped, to be honest. And that is the area where my attention is now. So when I left 3.5 years ago, when I left the testing and certification industry and stopped with facilitating technology compliance, I did it because I did not want to stand on the side while others are building ecosystems. So I jumped into the ecosystems, and the first thing I built was the consulting company that built products. And then with that company, we built Credit Click, which is essentially a credit card without the card. But the nice thing there was exactly the digital onboarding, where you can instantly enter the relationship with the bank, following all the regulatory compliance and risk management procedures. And from that, I think this is where my interest is now, because I am playing with the idea of making a RegTech business out of the fintech. And I think this is a natural evolution. So what you see in Europe, I'm not sure if other countries see it in the same classification, but what we see here is fintech is a relatively established and overpopulated area, and it starts creating spin-offs. So instead of simply managing payments, which is becoming unnecessarily complex today, and simplification is an issue, and there are many people doing this, many payment service providers, payment facilitators, and so on. Next to doing this, the new areas being born are called InsurTech, digital insurances, PropTech, managing the properties, mortgages, commercial real estate, which is having COVID problems now, but let's say that domain. And RegTech, I see just next in line, which would, in my opinion, address the fundamental issue of it. How to
totally agree.
Digital activity to the physical person.
Yeah, I think that is when you're saying more convenience, more risks, so you need more RegTechs.
Yeah,
completely right.
Yeah, so, and I think that regulation is good, provided that you trust the administration of the state.
I think you have a friend here. We have a friend here watching us from Poland. He he's a founder of a company called Pay by Face. And exactly, this is one of the, when you talk about onboarding, I mean, it has everything to do with what are they doing as well. But coming to that, Maxim, what Flavio just asked me here about the stable coins. How you see the evolution for stable coins? I see, for instance, China going very strong in blockchain segment. And basically, because blockchain can bring more control, instead it's a kind of paradox because they decentralize, but they have more control about the distributed agents in China. And in fact, they are going to go to this stable coin because in the future they can just push all this Chinese trade to their stable coin. Exactly the way the US did after the Second War with the Marshall Plan, when they
Yeah.
just make everybody pay with dollars, right? So
Yeah,
how you see the evolution of stable coins and this when you take the Facebook, this public and because for China, for instance, stable coins are kind of sovereign. And how you see this? How you see stable coins coming up?
I think that, well, if we trace the evolution, it all started with the blockchain, with the beautiful idea of the distributed ledger and cryptographic protection of transaction chain. And the technology has spent 10 years being a solution looking for a problem. That is how
Right.
blockchain,
That's right.
has lived the last decade. But the technology in itself is beautiful, and it looks like it is there to stay. So it's not going anywhere. It's funny that you compare stablecoin with the Marshall Plan, because indeed it is about this decentralized ledger being used to establish a center of power. And Facebook is an interesting example with Calibra and Libra. It's an interesting example there because indeed the state did not want to have the center of power. And now we see the state itself using blockchain to improve the processing of currency. I start wondering, to be honest, whether distributed ledger is truly needed in the centralized system. So whether blockchain would be better off than a database in this application. But I guess there are smarter people than me who thought about this. And indeed, if you create a club or a consortium or a society of people who have limited trust to each other, then the sort of a closed distributed ledger can help.
Yeah, I've seen all those consortiums. They have fight to each other. But when you take a government, like the Chinese, and say blockchain in here, inside the country, domestically, so this is very different than when you have those different initiatives trying to be trying to be better than the other, right? This has to be very, a consolidated initiative to work. It seems to me.
I think if China starts doing something, then it usually works. So
yeah, that's right. Yeah. You have a purpose, right? So, and Maxine, just the time just ran.
It flies.
Very fast. Very very interesting. If you, with your experience, I know you have your two companies like Click Selection and Credit Click. If you, as an entrepreneur right now, what would be your recommendation for all those entrepreneurs and people wondering, trying to do beautiful things? What you would recommend? Would be your message for them? Well, as a guy that came from Ukraine, from Soviet Union, then Ukraine, then Netherlands, and to the world.
There is a mechanism called natural selection, right? This is how we evolved as creatures. And that mechanism made us, through evolution, it made it such that our eyes are quite close to our mouth so that you could see where your food is and you can eat it quickly once you've seen it. And I think there is something in it. So have a vision, look around, try, think about what you see, and don't forget to eat once in a while. That's what makes you survive, I think.
That's right. Very interesting. I like those global philosophy. So just bringing something very interesting. So Maxim, I'd like to thank you very, very much for this talk. Hope you can, I mean, keep doing that, right? So
Thanks, Bezerra. Thanks.
it was very, very nice. And let's keep
Likewise,
in
likewise.
touch.
And thanks a lot for arranging this talk. That's always interesting. Thank you.
I'm just like to remark that next 2 weeks, I'm gonna have this in October the 17th. I'm gonna have here Jillian Irizarry. She's with us today, talking about low code, about artificial intelligence for customer engagement. Very interesting. She's from Pega Systems. It's gonna be a very interesting conversation as well. So just to let you know,
in English,
that's gonna be in English. In fact, Jillian talks a little bit of Portugal as well. But that's gonna be in English just to make it easy.
I will join. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Maxim.
Thanks,
See you.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Okay, take care. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Tchau, gente. Obrigado. Até dia 7. Tchau, tchau. Abraço.
Obrigado.
Obrigado.